Hey everyone, my name is Jake Nelson and today I'm going to be showing you how to make sauteed Brussels sprouts with bacon. This recipe was inspired by one of my chefs at Johnson & Wales. Some of you may be familiar with him, Chef Malcolm. He made these for our class and that was the first time I had ever had Brussels sprouts. Growing up, I had never been around or experienced Brussels sprouts because my dad hated them with all of his heart. The way his mom fixed them growing up was apparently really gross and he would refuse to go near them. So I had never had them until Chef Malcolm made them and they were delicious. I loved them and I made them again at home for my parents and my dad really liked them and I've converted him from a Brussels sprouts hater to a Brussels sprouts lover. So what is a Brussels sprout? Well, Brussels sprouts were originally cultivated in Brussels, Belgium. Here's a map, France and Germany on either side. And they're like little baby cabbages. This is what they look like. They have the bitter flavor of a cabbage and they retain some of their texture even after they're cooked. This is how they grow. They grow on a stalk like this and then they pick off all the little Brussels sprouts from there. And they're really healthy for you. They're a great source of magnesium, folic acid, iron, fiber, and vitamins A, C, and K. So not only do they taste great, but they're really good for you. So without further ado, let's get started on the recipe. So the first step is going to be preparing your bacon. Here I have around 10 slices of just regular cut bacon, and you're just going to do kind of a rough dice on it like this. You're going to cook these to be like little bite-sized pieces. So just kind of like little pieces like that. It'll cook down, the fat will be rendered out. So nothing too fancy here. And when we go to cook these Brussels sprouts, what we're going to do is we're going to render out the fat from the bacon, and instead of using like butter or olive oil or something, we're going to saute the Brussels sprouts in the bacon fat, and that will help add a lot of flavor to them. So just going to finish chopping up the bacon and I'm gonna go ahead and put it in our pan where we will cook them later. So the next step is going to be preparing your garlic, and I have 3 cloves of garlic for this recipe. And to prepare garlic, what you're going to do is take the edge of your knife, place it on top of the clove of garlic, and smash, and that'll make it easier for you to peel the skin off the clove of garlic. We'll just throw the peel in the trash. And then you're gonna wanna trim the ends off of your garlic. Sometimes you can have a pretty big kind of woody base to them. So you just wanna trim those off and then just dice it away, and just chop it really fine and small so it almost kind of dissolves in the Brussels sprouts. So once your garlic is all chopped up, you want it to kind of look like this, just really fine pieces like that. Now the next step is going to be preparing your Brussels sprouts. So what you want to do is, you see the end, it's kind of a tougher piece of the Brussels sprout. You just want to cut the ends off and then just do a really fine slice on it. You almost want like Brussels sprout shavings. That way the leaves will cook nice and fast in the pan and can be sauteed easily. So what you're kind of looking for is like little shavings, kind of confetti almost. And you're just going to repeat this with all your Brussels sprouts. So once all your mise en place is done, you're going to start by rendering the bacon fat. I have not turned on the heat yet. It is still a cold pan. And you're just gonna turn the heat on to like a medium low heat. You don't want a high heat because the way I think of rendering fat is kind of like extracting the fat out of a meat product. So you want to start with a cold pan and use a medium to low heat to kind of melt the fat out of the meat without cooking it too quickly. So that way we'll have plenty of bacon fat to saute our Brussels sprouts in. Okay, so once your bacon is nice and crisp, you're going to use a slotted spoon to take the bacon out of the pan while reserving the fat. So once your bacon is removed, the pan should still be nice and hot from cooking the bacon, and you can just dump your Brussels sprouts right into the pan. Now these will cook down a good bit, and you know they're going to be done when they're a nice vibrant green color and are fork tender. For sauteing the Brussels sprouts, you'll want to turn the heat up to a medium-high heat to get the fast cooking saute action. At some point during the cooking process, you're going to want to season the Brussels sprouts, and I'm going to use kosher salt, some onion powder, garlic salt, and ground black pepper. And I don't have specific measurements because it kind of depends on how many Brussels sprouts you do and just kind of the size, but you can always just take a fork and taste some as it's cooking, you know, to make sure that there is a good amount of seasoning. And some people like things more garlicky, and you can add more garlic salt and fresh garlic in if you want to make it more garlicky. But if you're not a huge garlic fan, you know, just add a little less. Again, nothing too specific here, just kind of season to your liking. So my Brussels sprouts have been cooking for a couple minutes and they're becoming softer and they're turning a brighter green. Now is the time to add your fresh garlic from earlier. You add the garlic in a little bit later because you don't want the garlic to burn in the saute process, because that will ruin the flavor of the dish. My Brussels sprouts are nearing their end, so I'm going to taste them to see if the seasoning is right. I think I can add some more salt and garlic salt. I'm not getting a super strong garlic flavor, and the bitterness of the Brussels sprouts can be masked when you add some more salt to it. So don't be afraid to just taste and see what you need to add as you go. To finish off the Brussels sprouts, all you have to do is add your cooked bacon back into the pan and mix this around, get the bacon incorporated in there. And general rule of thumb, if the Brussels sprouts start turning like a dark, kind of murky green, that may be an indication that they're starting to overcook a bit. So once they start losing their vibrant green color, then you might want to take them off the heat. So this is the final product, and I'm just going to give them a taste. They're really good. They're soft, but they have a little bit of texture even after being cooked. And of course, bacon makes everything better. So again, the rendering the fat process is important here because it gives you a different kind of fat to add different flavor to the Brussels sprouts. It does take a little bit to do because you want to cook them low and slow, and it melts all the fat out. And again, Brussels sprouts, I hope you try them. They're super good. They're really healthy for you. They're a great source of vitamin A, C, K, folic acid, magnesium, iron, lots of good stuff in these. So although these are typically hated on by many, I hope that you give this recipe a try and enjoy. Thank you.